Let's Science is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
Caroline, I love your topic. I'm not going to say anything about it because I want you to kick us off. All right, this is so Australian. So tell us about your topic, Caroline. Go for it.
I thought, yes. So I'm doing a little bit of a science news topic today. Okay, it's very Australian, so let's just get into it. So there was a mining company who lost a radioactive capsule.
Whoops.
Okay. Oops. So on January 25th, Rio Tinto, a mining company operating in Western Australia, reported that a capsule containing radioactive cesium-137 had been lost. It was only pea-sized, or other reports say 10 cent size of a 10-cent coin, but if you don't know what our 10-cent coin size is,
just Google it.
And it was thought to have come off a radiation gauge being transported on the back of a truck. Now, apparently it's really strange for these capsules to come off the radiation gauge, so they're not sure how it happened, but I love the reference to it came off the back of a truck.
No, we're sure how it happened, Caroline. We know it fell off the back of a truck. That's how it happened.
It actually did fall off the back of a truck.
That is so Australian,
really
right? It fell off the back of a truck. How did you lose it? Oh, it fell off the back of a truck.
Off the back of the truck, yeah.
Come on, Caroline.
Yeah. Which really alludes to, anyway.
Yeah.
In this case, it actually did come off the back of a truck.
It actually did fall off the back of a truck. Yeah.
It wasn't like inadvertent, taken. But anyway.
It wasn't stolen,
Yeah. This kind of radiation gauge is used to measure the density of iron ore in the mining process. It's thought that the capsule came loose from the gauge and fell through the crack in the truck doors as it was being transported. So potentially it was shaken loose by the vibrations of the truck. The capsule was actually lost from the 12th of January when it made its way from the Goodeye-Dari iron ore mine in Newman, located in the Pilbara region of Western Australia, to a depot located in the north of Perth city centre. Now this is a 1,400 kilometre journey, or 870 mile journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it was discovered to be missing when the package it was supposed to be in was inspected on January 25th. And they found that, the gauge was there, but the radioactive was missing. Okay.
Where is it? Oh, it must have fallen off the back of the truck.
Must have fallen off the back of the truck. The issue with someone finding the tiny capsule is that it actually emits both beta and gamma rays.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come into contact, it could have caused skin damage, including severe burns.
Yep.
The exposure could be the same as receiving 10 X-rays per hour.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And this is even up to, you could be 10 meters distance, even up to that, you could be still receiving the exposure.
Yep. So this
a
is,
health warning.
Jokes aside, this is pretty serious. You know what I mean? It's very
actually
dangerous.
Really serious.
Yeah.
It's actually serious.
Yeah.
We just like the back of the truck thing.
Well, which is why it's so funny. Oh, what happened to that really dangerous radioactive thing you've got? Oh, it fell off the back of a truck. That's
it.
Yeah.
So a health warning was issued by the state's chief health officer, which we're very familiar with state chief health officers after the COVID thing.
We are.
We know all of them from every state of Australia now. So Andy Robertson, he was talking to the state about the risks associated with coming into contact with the capsule. As I mentioned, damage could be done even at 10 meters distance from the capsule. And health authorities were concerned if it could have been lodged in the car tire of someone as they drove down the road. Imagine if you
Could have picked it up with you.
inadvertently drive over, and because it's so small, it could have been stuck in a car tire. So they were really worried about that.
Yeah, they asked people to inspect their tires if they drove on that route as well. Yeah, to make sure it wasn't lodged in their tires.
Do you want people to actually go that close? I don't know. Anyway, so the search was on to find the equivalent of a needle in a haystack.
Mm-hmm.
Emergency services were tasked with searching for the capsule. They didn't just walk along looking with their eyes, because, that's a very long distance to just be walking along trying to look for a tiny, tiny little capsule. So the method used was to load a car with survey equipment used to detect gamma radiation emitted by the capsule. While driving down the route taken by the truck at 70 kilometers an hour, they actually received a strong signal for the gamma radiation, and they had a look. Eureka, we found it. Eureka's a good one. And they had a look at the serial number, and that was the missing capsule. Unofficially, because they don't want to actually say where exactly it was found, but it was found about 200 kilometers from the mine site 2 weeks later. Now, talking about back of a truck, this isn't the first time radioactive material has gone missing in Australia. No.
Is this like an honoured Australian pastime or something?
Yes, it seems to be. But I found an intentional theft, okay? So an intentional back of the truck. While I was searching up information for this topic, I came across an article that said there was a theft of 2,200 kilograms of yellow cake, which is a uranium oxide or an ore, before they extract the uranium out of it. It's like a yellow, very yellow mineral. So yes. And the material came from the Mary Kathleen uranium mine and processing plant in between Mount Isa and Cloncurry in Queensland. And this took place it actually was revealed, the theft, in 1980. So the mine was operated by Mary Kathleen Uranium Ltd, which by 1980 was joint and owned by CRA Ltd and the Commonwealth Government.
Mm-hmm.
So, the capsule was discovered within a couple of weeks, thank goodness, of going missing. But this uranium was, taken over a 12-month period starting in 1977. And the absence wasn't discovered through regular checks or an audit, because the employee who stole it tried to sell the yellow cake to a scrap merchant in Sydney.
Whoa.
So luckily, the scrap dealer went to the police. There was an investigation, and the employee had been removing the uranium oxide from the processing plant between April 1977 and July 1978.
Whoa.
He filled 6 drums of the stuff and sent it to Sydney.
Wow.
So then he was actually found guilty of the theft and sentenced to 5 years in prison in 1981. Now, for me, I'm not sure if 5 years is enough, because
you should be sentenced for the half-life of uranium.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good punishment.
Yeah.
Because radioactive material is extremely damaging, like we
Dangerous.
read about the little cesium capsule. Okay. Okay. It was the yellow cake form. It wasn't pure uranium, but still, there've been reported losses or exposures, accidental exposures to radioactive material, and basically it destroys cells. The particles emitted from the radioactivity will destroy cells, destroy DNA, and if you get a severe enough exposure, you're not coming back from it. There is no healing from it. We just know from disasters that have happened and people being exposed.
Yeah. I've seen Star Trek too. I saw what happened to Spock. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you
Sorry.
go. But there was what was the big explosion?
Fukushima?
There was the Fukushima, but there was the
Chernobyl?
big one in Chernobyl.
Yeah.
So that was a massive disaster. Yeah. And the people who went in to have a look died because they got so much exposure to radiation.
Is that still open, Caroline? Oh, no. So we're changing the topic.
It's still radioactive. You cannot go there.
You can't go there.
Yeah,
no.
you can't go there.
Yeah.
Now, that's not
animals
in
are starting to go
Ukraine.
back. But
Oh, yeah.
I did see a documentary where animals are starting to go back, but they're not quite right. Their
Yes,
DNA has been
Yeah.
affected.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it started off with a kind of a silly thing, but it has a really serious undertone. So
Certainly does. Certainly does. Yeah.
yeah, so just stay away from any radioactive sources, including your fire alarms. They have a little bit of a radioactive substance. Just
Yes.
leave the fire alarms up there and do not open them up. And
Change the batteries, yeah? All good.
just, I mean, don't open up the radioactive
Active
part.
part,
Yeah, full on. Yeah, definitely.
Just change the batteries. Like, yes, please change the batteries on your smoke alarm. That's a good idea.
Can I contribute to this topic? So I found it.
course.
I had alluded to this before. So when it happened, the story was so serious and so ridiculous at the same time in the media
Yes.
that, it was being parodied in different ways. So someone on the internet parodied this story and the advice that was being given by chief health officers and officials and whatever, right? So you might remember, some of you who in Australia, you might remember that on A Current Affair with Ray Martin, every Friday evening, he would have those two comedians who would pretend to be politicians and, have this really silly conversation,
It's
right?
so funny.
I found the text that someone created for this. So if you don't mind, I'm
Go for it. Read it out.
going to share it for you. So the person pretends to be the official is the first one he speaks. He goes, "It fell off the back." "It fell off the back?" "Yes." "And how big is it?" "About the size of a 10-cent coin. But you should stay 5 meters away from it if you find it. It's very dangerous." "So where did it fall off?" "Somewhere between Perth and the Pilbara." "So should we be worried?" "No, Brian, the risk is relatively low." "But you say here it could cause radiation burns." "Well, yes, if you see the capsule, you shouldn't touch it." How will they see it if it's the size of a 10-cent coin?" "A magnifying glass?" That's the end scene. There you go.
Very, very good.
There you go.
Very, very good.
Yeah. I used to love that. Those two
We
were,
love a good.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
We love
yeah.
a good disaster. We love a good joke
There's a bit
about
of
a
parody.
disaster.
Yeah. This is the larrikinism
yes.
part coming out of it.
Yes.
But thankfully we can
Yeah,
laugh
yeah.
because no one was harmed. It was found.
No one was
the
harmed.
needle in a haystack
was.
was found. Yeah. And
It was legitimately found. They found it in a very intelligent way by using a radioactive meter, which was
Yes.
the perfect way to go about it.
yeah.
So, yes.
Please, Australians, please secure whatever you put on the back of your truck.
Secure it.
Secure it.
Secure it.
Secure your load.
Personally, I'm tired of going down the Monash Freeway.
Yep. I was about to say.
Finding
yeah.
bits of stuff on the road and
Big block
and
of
do
foam,
you swerve or do
wooden
you
planks,
keep going?
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Please secure your
your
loads,
load.
people.
That's the
Yes.
message of this story.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show, Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science and find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy. The Secrets of Technology. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/technology.